Hey, howdy, and hello, and welcome to The Crazy Train, the comedy podcast with no rails for Emotionally 14. I'm your host, Rob Wade, and I'm joined, as always, by my rock, the incomparable Blake Harmer.
Hey, howdy, and hello, Pilgrim.
Hello, Pilgrim. You sound far away.
I am far away.
You are far
away. Get me out. I'm in a cave somewhere. Find me.
Can you describe your surroundings?
Blue.
Blake, I can see your surroundings. You're surrounded by epic blinds.
Yeah, they are the most epic blinds.
They really are.
Which I'm amazed at that light coming through, considering it's quite late now.
Yeah, it is. It's the nice sort of late spring, early summer sort of, well, it's not even late spring, is it? We've just started having spring finally in the UK. Yeah. We've actually had weather.
Yeah, especially the last week or so has just been. Remember when it was really cold? Fuck you, it's hot now.
Yeah, it wasn't even. I'm convinced it wasn't even 6 weeks ago that it last snowed, and yet like the weekend was just glorious.
Well, I actually
style glorious. It was amazing.
You just sat there in the sun, just slowly rotating.
Yep.
Slowly rotating.
I did cook like a rotisserie chicken. I just got some.
Oh yeah,
I got the power of the sun.
I'm bad as well.
Yeah, I got the power of the sun on the back of my hand. I'm like a shit Dr. Octopus.
Yeah, my problem was on the Sunday just gone. I did a load of gardening and decided to celebrate the completion of mowing the lawn by sitting in our garden and drinking a crate of Corona between me and Kat.
A crate of how many's in the crate?
It was only 12, so it was about
12.
6. About six Corona, but I mean, I think the rum and that came out afterwards. So.
Fuck.
Yeah. So and hence the burn. I was a bit of a tit and forgot to put any lotion on. But
I did exactly the same thing. I was really good with via Jen. I was really good with hands and back of the neck, which is annoying because I still got burned on the back of the neck, which really fucked me off.
But, I've got it all up one arm and the back of the neck. But, other side completely fine, weirdly though.
Yeah, that's the same as here as well. I had a little bit initially on the front of my neck, which I really couldn't explain at all because I was completely covered. But and then I forgot about the back of my hands, and they were in the sun all day because at the weekend we went fishing.
Oh, okay.
So I'll tell you all about it. But first, I'm just going to describe what the show's about because usually we do that immediately, but we're not going to do that.
Yeah, maybe that should be good.
Yeah, so if you've never heard The Crazy Train before and this is your first time aboard, this is the comedy podcast with no rails. We start with a conversation piece and go where the conversation takes us. Sometimes we take questions from the listeners and our friends. That could be you one day. Nobody knows where The Crazy Train goes. So if that sounds like your bag, then welcome aboard. If it doesn't, then depart at the next available station and stick a spoon up your ass and get to fuck out. This is also not family friendly, in case that wasn't apparent from all the times I said fuck.
Yeah. Depart using the pause button.
Delete. Yeah, I've never heard a train say, delete yourself from this train. Essentially, this is the first one where you can do that. So, we went fishing. And that was certainly an experience I went to.
It's not the sort of thing I ever thought, you know what I imagine Rob doing on a regular basis?
No, this is true. It was my first time. It may be my only time. Okay. And it's not to say that I didn't have fun at all.
No, I'm sure you could have a laugh on it, even if you're not very good at it.
It was a laugh, but there were some nice things about it. It was very peaceful and very quiet and tranquil, which is always nice. On a Sunday, which was good because I was up fucking early to make it there on time. Because obviously they want to do an all-day thing. It means you have to leave at like 8, which means you have to be there for sort of 2:45. And we had to leave at about 6:45, I think, which on a Sunday is obviously an utter delight. So I spent all of that time getting ready and all that. And then we got there on the boat and we drive out to sea for what felt like fucking hours. It was more like about 45 minutes, but obviously there's fuck all to look at because you're basically just out from Dover and your boat is driving towards France. There's a certain point past which they can't go because it's international fishing waters and you can only fish in certain bits. So we got out to the bit as far as we can go, and we start sort of getting shown the ropes. And I've never fished before, so I had to be completely shown everything from the start. So, and that's fine. I believe it or not, there's not a lot to it in terms of the basics. It's get hooks online, bait optional, throw hooks in water, wait for feeling of sense of fish, pull up. Leave fish to die, pretty much.
They always make it look more complicated than that.
They do. This is true. I think that's probably because they're good at it, whereas I'm just like a complete dribbler. So thankfully I was on a boat, so if I dribbled, it was over the edge of the thing and then just into the water,
And how many dribblers did you catch?
In terms of small fish that were no fucking good to anybody, 3.
Yeah. Oh well, that's not bad.
It's all right for 8 hours. It's kind of shit. But at the same time, I'll give you an idea of how...
Was the whole place teeming with fish?
No.
That would have been really shit otherwise.
It wasn't just a case of everybody else was surrounded by mountains of fish and I've just got these 3 piss tiddly ones in the bucket. No. To give you an idea, at the end of the experience, the driver of the boat apologized and said, like, normally there would be more fish to catch and normally we would have a bigger haul to take with us.
Okay.
And a lot of the fish we caught were of a particular type that are not very edible. I think it's called pouting or something like that. I mean, fish pout anyway. But
yeah, well, I thought they're quite good at pouting.
They do. They are. This is true.
Sorry, just when you first started that sentence, I was a bit like, when they said, I'm sorry, there's not as many fish as normal. I thought they were just going, thanks, global warming.
Thanks, Obama.
Yeah.
How does I don't know.
Thanks, EU fishing laws.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Yeah, that's it. What's going to happen is as soon as we leave the EU, all the fish are going to come back. All the fish are going to have to be restricted to the relevant territorial water.
Yeah.
There's going to be force.
We got our fish back.
Yeah, exactly. But we caught a lot of these ones that aren't any good to catch, but actually they get a thing called you're familiar with the bends. Okay. When they come, so for those who aren't familiar, my understanding at least is that when you come up from through the different water pressures at speeds, it fucks you up. Now if you're a fish, obviously doubly so. So yanking them through the pressure, they actually get the bends on the way up to the surface.
Oh, okay.
So apparently it's not actually kind to throw them back, even if you don't want to cook them. Even if you don't want to,
effectively,
you've basically fucked them. Not in a literal sense. Obviously, that podcast will never come. Welcome to the fish fucky train. So it's actually kinder to just drop them in the bucket and leave them to drown in air, essentially. Which takes fucking ages.
Yeah, and I just thought, surely that's just a slow, painful death.
It is, but at the same time, like I say, apparently it's actually kinder. So, I was only kind of deferring to the driver's expertise on this. He may have been a complete sociopath. And actually, I'll come to why I think he might have been in a minute. Yeah,
not the in-betweeners, punching the fish to death.
Yeah, well, hold that thought.
Okay.
So,
what did you do, Rob?
No, I didn't do anything. I'll be clear on this. So, I don't think I even touched a live fish. I think over the course of the day, there was this idea that Jen had that she kind of convinced me to go to the fishing, even though I didn't really want to. But but that kind of was born out of the fact that, in a way, she kind of did. But what happened was she said, "Do you want to go fishing?" And I said, I mean, I don't know. It just doesn't sound like my sort of thing. So, all right, well, think about it. So a week went by, and she said, "Have you thought any more about whether you want to go?" I was like, I don't know. And she's like, "You don't really want to go, do you?" I said, "Not really." And then about a week later, she said, "Did you want to go to this or not?" And I was like, "You're not going to let me say no, are you?" And I just ended up saying, "Yeah, let's do that. It's a day out. It's a new experience. If I don't like it, I never have to do it again if I don't want to."
You can say you've tried at least.
Exactly, yeah. So I can say I've been sea fishing. So there's that, add that to the old CV.
Yeah. When I was very young, I did go out with my uncle and they sort of did like pole fishing.
Okay.
But I think it was mainly him.
Well, you can catch anything in the water.
Well,
coming over here, being our fish.
Didn't like it when I stuck the stick in them.
No, I bet. What do you do?
But I think I was a bit too young for the whole experience because I think I found it a bit boring, but just because it was so slow paced.
Yeah, it can be it drags quite a lot.
And I think because I was like, Brad wanted to give it a go, and he went out with my uncle, and I was just tagged along. And I think I wanted to, being about 6 or 7 or whatever, I want everything to happen now.
Yeah, it's like, where is fun? I demand fun yesterday.
Yeah, I want plifty fish in this bucket.
Yeah, what number is plifty? I'm 7. I don't have to explain.
Yes.
Put plifty fish in bucket now. Wah.
Yeah.
Wah. Yeah.
Worst orc ever.
Seriously. So we went out and we initially we were catching these, like I say, these kind of, I don't want to say useless fish because I'm sure they serve a function, but they were.
They just use it. You're just basically mogging all these fish.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pulling them out of the water, removing their worthless.
Oh god!
And then just going,
it's really awkward to like. You keep finding yourself looking over at them because, like I said, they took fucking forever to die. Like they'd be sat in the bucket and you'd be fishing and you'd forget about them for 5 minutes and they'd just go. Flap, 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 flap. It's like,
oh really?
Why didn't I leave you to? Weren't you done? Like when you just last time you fucking flapped and flipped around? Like is that not what the thing happened? I was like, no, apparently not.
No, isn't that what you do when you're in the water anyway? Shouldn't I put you back?
Yeah, true. I mean, I feel like, admittedly, in defense of the fish, as much as I can go, I do feel like if I was walking around in the, near the river and somebody yanked a hook into my mouth and then pulled me into the water going deeper and deeper and then left me in a bucket and fucked off, I'd be annoyed and all. And I'll quite, like I say,
I'd like to remind them that I'm still here once in a while.
I'll give them that ground. I'll give them that. That's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, they look. The thing about fish when they sort of die in the air and stuff, they don't look like horrified like I expected. They look. They're obviously their mouths open and their eyes go wide, and in some cases, because of these pressure changes, their eyes can go quite sort of bulbous. To the point where I was worried I'd burst one. That's just one of those weird things that's just kind of uncomfortable, but at the same time didn't actually happen. So that's always nice. And I was watching them. I was looking at them every now and then, and I noticed that actually what they look is offended. Like, I can't believe he did that to me.
I can't believe you crippled me.
How? And he's just going back to doing his fishing. Bust.
He's not even looking at me. Look at me. Look at me.
I don't. I really hope the video for this comes out.
Yeah.
But look at see your fish.
Look at me when I'm flapping at you.
Yeah. So the day kind of proceeds like this. So, we catch, me and Jen caught like 2 or 3 each in the first hour or so. And it was an 8-hour day. So there was a lot of traveling and he sort of drove us along sort of parallel to the coast, along the bits we could do. And there was a point at which we started catching other fish. Well, I say we, some other people in the boat started catching other fish and they caught dogfish.
Oh, okay.
Dogfish are obviously like sharks. They're from the same species or the same family or whatever.
Family, yeah.
Same family. Same genus or whatever you call it, whatever the poshos, the toffos call it.
The same genus, what, fish? Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the one. And they have that barbed skin, like the same size, same kind of sharks, like emery board.
Oh, okay.
So you have to be careful with them because if you want to unhook them, hook from their mouth, even though you're technically doing them a favor, they don't realize that and they don't appreciate that. So they just kind of turn around and start slamming into you with their tail, and they'll actually wrap around your arm and try and rip the skin off.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah, thankfully nobody had that happen to them, although Jen did get shit on by one. I thought he'd thrown up because she was trying to get the hook out of his mouth, and I thought he'd thrown up, but actually apparently she reckoned he shit on her. I say he, it might have been a she, I don't know.
I have seen a video of, can't remember who it was now. I think it was Hat Films. They went to somewhere I think it's like Thailand or somewhere.
Yeah.
Someone quite far eastern, and they were doing catfish fishing.
Yeah.
But they were giant catfish. They were like, they were holding them and they were struggling to pick up these fish because they were just massive.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did see a video of one of them, like, he was like holding it out so they could take a photo of him, the one they caught. And it just did a massive shit all over his knee. Nice. So
I don't begrudge them that. If I was in that position, I'd probably shit myself or no.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're going to take me alive, I'm going to shit on you. I'm going to shit on your knee.
Well, exactly. So the driver of the fish boat gets up and he goes, right, you need to, with dogfish, they take a long time to die. If you just leave them they take like ages and ages to die if you just leave them in the air. So the trick is, and he picks up this brush, like a dustpan and brush.
Okay. Yeah.
He picks up one of them made of wood, and he just starts whacking it in the head. And I'm like, and he was so into it that I feel like had he, I wouldn't have been surprised if he'd suddenly just gone, if that bitch wants the kids, she's going to have to put up a fight. Wham! Wham!
I was a bit worried when you said he was into it. I just thought he was just going to be, has he got a stiffy?
Yeah. He just starts whacking it. Wham! Wham!
Oh, yeah, that's the ticket.
That's the stuff.
That's the good stuff.
Yeah, so that was a weird thing to watch. And then, even though he was saying, like, oh, that's the sort of, again, the kindest way to do it, he dropped them in the bucket, and then they would sit there for like 10 minutes writhing around. So I was like, how is this the kind way? They're not only
the kind way of they
beat the
take
fuck
ages,
out
so
of
you got to club them a bit,
Yeah.
and then they're still alive after that.
Yeah, I've heard this with kids who won't like eat their dinner properly. You just have to club them half to death and then leave them in a bucket to bleed out. But legal disclaimers: I haven't. That's not what's happened at all.
But
I
it's the kindest thing to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, legal disclaimers: it isn't. So we have some emails from our wonderful, delightful listeners. So I thought we would go through and pick one. And let's see what we've. I'll tell you what. Let's do Rob Deane's question because he got it in time for a crazy train last time we recorded, but unfortunately we'd already started going and we had a big pile of questions to go through, so it got banked. So I felt a bit bad. So let's do that one.
Okay. Sorry, Dean.
So Rob Deane asks, some films are just better in the cinema. There is a question coming. It's not just, it didn't just leave us with that.
Credits.
Exactly.
We hope you enjoyed the crazy train.
Yeah. So some films are just better in the cinema. What are the best big screen movies? I think we talked a little bit about like what makes films classic, but I think there's something to be discussed about like what kind of films are. Because I think he's right inherently that there are certain films that are better that you have to see or you have to try and see in the cinema.
Yeah, but some films are definitely better on a bigger screen than not. Like, I mean, obviously the obvious choices will be the ones where like the big no-brainer action movies with like the big explosions and all that, because obviously that's big visuals and big sound, which like coming out of that. I remember like when I was quite not young, like early teens, seeing Twister in a very small cinema in Edinburgh, I think it was, or. And
it's a long way to travel to see Twister.
Yeah, I think we were already up there, and I think it was a pretty miserable day. And we just went, "Oh, let's go see a film."
Watch a movie about a more miserable day to make us feel
that'll make us feel better. I don't know why we went. Oh, the weather's crap. Let's go see a film in Scotland.
It must have brought into a certain level of shitness. Hello, Scotland.
But I just remember it being quite a small cinema. Not many people being in the showing.
Yeah.
And the sound just being immense because of all the because of the sound effects in the film. It's just like proper whipping around the cinema.
Yeah.
So, but I just remember that just being cacophonous,
Yeah.
But I was just like, because I was talking to a friend at work and they went to see Rampage.
Yeah.
And they said it's good fun. It's not going to win any awards, obviously, but it's
maybe Razzies.
yeah. But it's a good no-brainer fun action movie. And I must admit, a bit like that and like Pacific Rim, I was looking at them going, they would be good probably to see in the cinema. Yeah,
I think I did see Pacific Rim in the cinema, and I remember quite enjoying it. And we watched it again the other day. I need to remind me in a second. I need to tell you a story about movies. So. Yeah, we watched Pacific Rim the other day because me and Jen were sitting there talking about films, and we decided to watch one, and Pacific Rim was the one we ended up choosing. I don't necessarily get the impression it went down fantastically well. I think it was sort of relatively well enjoyed.
Okay. Is there a problem with giant robots and punching
I don't know what the problem with giant robots punching aliens is. I think it just didn't really hook her from early on.
Okay.
So,
I suppose if it doesn't hook you early on, it's not going to exactly win you over the course of the 2 hours.
Yeah, if you're not into it at the very beginning, it's a tough sell for the rest of the film because it never departs from that central thing.
No, it is its trick.
Yeah, exactly. It's a trick pony and of the one variety.
Yeah. But on the other hand, though, bonus Ron Perlman.
This is true. Yeah, and he is kind of he's very much a bonus character in that he just sort of turns up, has no real business being in China in that film.
No.
Just it's like, it's Hannibal Chow, I think he's called, or that.
Yeah.
It's like Ron Perlman. It's like, all right, let's hear it. It's got to be there's going to be a good explanation for this. And it turns out, he stole the name from somebody. I think it said something like that. But anyway, so this story, so films, right?
Okay.
So the other day we were talking about films, and we were talking about Sam Neill.
Okay.
And we're talking about Event Horizon because that's how we got onto the subject of Sam Neill. He said, I don't think I've ever seen it. What's it about? So I gave her the outline. I said, it's about a ship that goes into, it has a faster than light drive of sorts, disappears for years, turns up again. They go on the ship to find out what happened, and all kicks off. And I said, it's got Lawrence Fishburne and Sam Neill. And she said, what's the movie with Sam Neill where he collects skin. I can already see your mind racing. Your mind is the cogs are whirring. I can hear them in these rather marvelous headphones you've got.
Yeah.
So have a little think for a few seconds.
Collect skin. I'm going through all of his different horror films that I've seen him in.
Yep.
And I can't think of one specifically. I mean, like, I'm thinking, like, is there a bit? I mean, it's been a while since I watched Serpent and the Rainbow. I don't remember that happening.
Nope. I'll tell you, you haven't guessed it yet. So I'll keep you posted.
But it's obviously not Event Horizon. It's not going to be Mouth of Madness.
Nope.
Collect skin.
So we went through two things simultaneously. We were going through his IMDb in full.
Okay.
Looking at every single synopsis of anything that I wasn't immediately aware of. Like, he plays Merlin in this. There's no way. There's no way you can this one.
It's not. She didn't get confused with collecting eyes.
No, this is an Arthurian legend. There's no way this particular one is going to be like the Quentin Tarantino presents the Arthurian legend. So we're going through and I'm sort of asking, is it this one? It's about this and stuff. No, that doesn't sound right. And then we're also going through films that she might have seen somebody who looks like Sam Neill in, or somebody who reminds her of. And I was saying things like, Bone Collector, or and I was grasping at straws a little bit in places, but the idea was I'd kind of think of that. So eventually, she goes looking for images of this film, and she finds one. It is Event Horizon.
Okay.
It's a picture of Sam Neill after he goes mad. Spoilers for Event Horizon. And
I think it's been a few years. I think you're fine.
Yeah. So it's a bit after he goes mad and gouges out his own eyes. Mm-hmm. And he sat in the chair with a big sort of scary grin on his face, and his eyes.
Oh, okay. I know the shot. Yeah.
She saw that one photo and made the rest up in her head. Did I miss a bit? Hang on, that was it. So she also said at one point, now I can't remember how we ended up figuring out that was in there, but she turned around to me and said, yeah, so he's in a film, he collects skin. At one point he goes electric. Now I'm still not sure about that particular bit of the film. I still don't know. But yeah, she took a single picture of Event Horizon. And I do remember now, she took a single picture of Event Horizon where he has skin over his eyes on a blue tinted background. The background was blue tinged. That's the electric bit, and she made the rest up in her head.
Okay.
Now, if she doesn't already write films in her spare time, she should, right?
Well, yeah. I'm interested to know what
I want to see this movie she's pitching, The Electric Skin Collecting Man, starring Sam Neill. I would watch that. Maybe we should pitch it. Maybe we should mock up a terrible movie poster as a T-shirt.
It could be a sort of dark, horrific sequel to Memoirs of an Invisible Man.
There you go. Memoirs of Invisible Man 2, The Skin Collecting Electric Man. But yeah, that was an experience. But unfortunately, we didn't end up watching Event Horizon. Now, what's weird is, for the last couple of weeks, I've been thinking a lot about Event Horizon, which I think most people do.
Is that your brain telling you need to watch Event Horizon?
Well, you say that, but I've had numerous opportunities over the last couple of weeks to watch Event Horizon, and I haven't taken them at any point. And I don't know why that is. It's very odd that my brain keeps going, that's a great movie. But it's like, do you want to watch it? Nah. Nah, you're right, mate.
Your brain, shut up.
Yeah, you're Rob, shut up. So anyway, yeah, classic movies, big screen movies. Like, think of a few examples.
Well, I can think of some films where I think that I've never really felt the need to watch them again because I felt they were designed for the medium, and that was it. Which was Avatar.
Yeah.
For example, I think was specifically designed with 3D and being on a big screen in mind.
Totally agree. Yeah.
And I must admit, apart from the fact that it's all right, it's I've never felt the need to watch that film again. And also, even when I've had the opportunity to, I've gone, it won't be as good as when I saw it in the cinema because it won't have that wow factor.
Yeah, I totally,
special effects.
I totally get what you mean. I never saw that film at the cinema. I saw it on DVD, and I was really underwhelmed. And I think part of the reason I was because it's a movie that's made to be seen on the big screen almost exclusively.
Yeah, it's showing off, the 3D tech and all that. And I think to watch it, I know it's a bit of an afterthought for 90% of films, but seeing as the film was sort of built to lead this pioneering tech at the time, it was very much that. And I know the film is basically Ferngully in space.
Sure.
So Yeah, and that might be the other reason I've not really felt the need to watch it, because I was gone like, no, I can think of about 100 sci-fi films that are better. But that, I still think it is of its time, and I don't really see any other reason to watch it, except, you know, if it was to watch it again on the big screen, and then I might go, yeah, all right, then that might be okay.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I'm trying to think. There's a couple of times we've been to the cinema recently. Recently in the last year, because that still counts for about half a dozen trips. And things like we saw Wind River. Did you see the trailer for that one at all?
No, I don't think I know that one.
Basically, Jeremy Renner plays a hunter and like a sort of local problem solver in a small Inuit village, like a village in the sort of, you know, remote parts of, I think it's Montana or somewhere like that, like in the snowy bits. And there's Inuit sort of settlers and people like that. And there's also sort of a small town kind of bumblefuckville. And a girl turns up dead. And he sort of helps the FBI come in because it's unusual circumstances and stuff. And then he ends up helping them sort of solve the case and things. And it wasn't a bad movie. I don't necessarily think it was an amazing movie, but I definitely think it was one I didn't need to see it at the cinema. It didn't add anything extra.
No, I mean, perfect example of two films I've seen. One I thought both good films. One I thought should deserve to be on the big screen, and one I probably could have waited.
Yeah,
even though I really enjoyed it. The one that I thought did go well on the big screen, and I think it's because there's lots going on, and again, big action movie sort of thing, was Ready Player One. Okay,
I can imagine that's a visual spectacle. That's what I've heard.
Yeah, it's quite impressive graphics and special effects, and there's lots of action in it, especially towards the latter part of the film. Yeah. There's lots of action and that, and yeah, it's quite, you know, all go all the time, and lots of things going on. So like lots of Easter eggs going on in the background, sort of things. It's probably easy to pick out some of the ones that are happening. Obviously, if you're seeing it on a big screen. Yeah. The other part of it is the other one I watched, which I think was arguably definitely the better of the two films I saw, but was Isle of Dogs.
Oh yeah, the Wes Anderson one, right?
Yeah, which I loved a bit, but at the same time, I don't think it needed to be on a big screen. I could have easily watched it at home and loved it just as much. I don't think it needed to be on a big screen, or was improved upon by being on a big screen with, you know, with impressive visuals. I mean, the animation is fantastic anyway, but
yeah, I know it's a very popular style, like the Fantastic Mr. Fox style, right? Yeah. Sort of almost looks like taxidermy.
That's right. Yeah,
less fucking morbid.
Yes, more whimsical.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, much more of an upper. You know, yes. not a man beating a fish to death with a bit of wood on the end.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Wes Anderson, and this is whimsical taxidermy.
Followed by the Jackass guitar line. So we saw Wind River, and I thought that wasn't one that needed to be seen at the cinema. We saw Wonder Woman, which I thought probably was a good one to see at the cinema, because it's got the big sort of battle scenes and the big sort of set piece.
Yeah, I obviously watched that at home, but I imagine especially the World War I bit going over the top bit would have been good.
That was pretty cool. All the sound and stuff. Last Jedi is very visually impressive, so that was a good one to see at the cinema.
Yeah. I think all Star Wars films are good on the big screen, but then again, I have seen them all on the big screen.
Yes, I have now as well. Yeah, did the special editions when I was a kid.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. And then we saw Game Night, the Jason Bateman one.
Okay, I've heard good things about that.
It is good. We really enjoyed it, but at the same time, again, it was one that you didn't really need to see that on the big screen. You could have waited for DVD or Netflix or something, and it wouldn't have really mattered that much.
I think with the majority of them, it might just be because of the cost of it or whatever, but I find that a lot of films, I avoid. It has to be something special for me to think, oh yeah, that must be seen on the big screen, or, you know, to make me not wait until I go to the cinema to see the film. Like, I mean, for example, this month is actually quite an intensive month, really, for cinema going, because obviously there's
Infinity War.
Yeah, there's Infinity War at the end of the week at the time of recording. Mm-hmm. There's Deadpool 2.
Yep.
And there's Solo at the end of May as well.
Yeah. So it's not far off.
Yeah, so it's all go, really. So in terms of, you know, and when I think how often I normally go to the cinema, I thought I could go 3 times between the end of May and December.
Yeah. This is it. I mean, we probably do 3 or 4 trips a year, more often than not. That's sort of the limit. We try and go more, but it's finding the time because it's always always something else going on. Like people have birthdays every fucking year, just like proper inconsiderate.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, it's like and you want to see sort of friends and family and stuff. Yeah, but it's so in terms of other movies that are sort of Avengers: Infinity War is going to be one. If I can see it at the cinema, I probably will try. I think that's going to be one that's going to make a big spectacle.
Yeah, I normally it has to be a certain film I'd be looking forward to that I'm going, yes, I'm going to see it at the cinema. So, I mean, yes, I want to see Infinity War. Yes, I want to see Solo.
Yeah.
If I have to drop one of those 3 films, it probably will be Deadpool out of the 3. But
I think that's fair. I mean, it's one of those ones.
But I do want to go see it at the same time. So.
I'm trying to think. Did I see Deadpool at the cinema? I think I did. I don't know.
I definitely did because I remember it was a spectacle because I took Kat's mum to see it with her.
Oh, okay. That's
because he was like, "Oh yeah, I'll go see this Deadpool," and I was going, "Are you sure?"
Yeah, are you sure? Really? Okay. Well, fair enough.
Well, don't say I didn't warn you.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to think. Maybe I did. It feels like the kind of film I might have seen with my sister.
Mm.
Don't know.
Yes, I can imagine that would have been fun.
Yeah. I went to see Thor Ragnarok with my dad. That was pretty cool. Especially because we had this awesome burger beforehand as well, which was like quadruple patty burger, which was rather good, and it was on an offer, so it was like half price, which was also
okay, nice.
Nothing. The only thing better than a 4 burger is a half price 4 burger. 4 burger for the price of 2 burger.
Yeah.
Stop saying
other multiples of burger.
Yeah, that was in. So it was a Hungry Horse, I think it was it's one of the pub chains.
Okay, yeah.
Other chains are available. This is the one over in the Water's Edge in Rochester, by the sea.
Yeah, that's a Hungry Horse. Yeah,
the Hungry Horse. It was a Friday, I think, and they had like buy one get one free on burgers, and it included the Quadzilla. It's called.
Okay.
I guess that's partly because there's 4 of the patties, and then partly because it puts a lot of strain in your legs after you finish it.
Okay. Oh no, you gotta have more beef. Go Quadzilla.
Yeah, exactly. So we had a Quadzilla of chips, and it's supposed to come with onion rings. But to give you an idea of how big this fucker is, it turned up. We started eating, and I was like, "Oh, the onion rings aren't in it." And after about 30 seconds, I went, "It's probably for the best that the onion rings." Because I don't think I can do this. I wasn't convinced I could finish it full stop. So.
Yeah, it was the onion rings that would have pushed you over the edge.
Exactly, yeah. It's been like throwing up everywhere and stuff in the middle of Ragnarok. I've been like, Ragnarok! Mick's dead.
Oh, Rob's
dead. Piss off, ghost. But Ragnarok's another one I think that made a good cinema movie.
Yes, it was a good one.
I wonder if it's color palette that makes a big difference as well. Like, because we saw Ant-Man at the cinema and that was really good, and I think it's because it had like a really sort of psychedelic color palette.
Okay, yeah, and Ragnarok's quite bright colored as well. So.
Yeah. By contrast, I didn't see Batman Superman at the cinema. I saw that on DVD, and I was all right with that because even though it probably was a decent cinema movie, I wasn't that bothered about seeing the cinematic cut. From what I hear, it's a mess.
I've not heard any good things said about it. I get some people trying to defend the films, but then I'm a bit like, I've not heard. If I keep hearing the majority bad reviews, I'm not going to go. I'm going to watch this film. So.
Yeah, it's not going to sway you to be like, yeah, I've got to get this.
I mean, I've yet to hear anyone go, yes, you must. Batman versus Superman is an amazing film. You just have to watch it in this way.
Yeah,
I know that apparently the extended cut is definitely better.
Well, yeah, from what I will caveat by saying I've only seen the ultimate cut. I've not seen the cinematic cut, but I've read what was missing from the ultimate cut. What was in the ultimate cut that wasn't in the cinematic, and it's basically most of the plot.
Oh dear. Yeah,
it seems like it's very disjointed, the cinematic cut, without the stuff that's in the ultimate.
I wonder why they made that decision, though, because that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think that's the problem the DC movies end up with is they have weird pacing because they are missing large chunks of exposition because they're afraid to sort of pull the trigger on a longer film. Because to be fair, the ultimate cut is the best part of 3 hours.
I know, yeah, and I've heard the Suicide Squad film is a lot longer as well because there's lots cut out of it.
It is. I saw that in another one that I just saw the standard sort of. I saw the ultimate cut on that one as well, rather than the cinematic, and that one was okay. It wasn't I didn't like it as much as Batman, Superman, or Man of Steel. It's probably the weakest of the DC ones I've seen.
Okay. Yeah, I'll probably give that one a miss then. But I mean, okay, if I see the Batman vs Superman Ultimate Edition going cheap, I might pick it up for that.
Yeah, I think it's worth, if it's on like a cheap rental or something like that, or you can get it for cheap, then I would definitely recommend seeing it at least once. Just because, like I say, it's a pretty good movie. The Ultimate Cut, the cinematic one, is the one that's a bit of a mess.
A lot of people do, because I like film. I do have people that are really surprised that I haven't seen Batman vs Superman or Justice League, and really the only DC film I've seen is Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
So but
just probably
unless you count the Nolan Batman, obviously.
Yeah, it is one of the stronger movies.
But yeah, I for the longest time until Batman vs Superman, I had seen all the Batman films. So yeah, I was never massively into Superman, really. But
I've never been a massive fan of Superman. It's not a very interesting character, I found.
No, and I think that's why I avoided. I didn't bother going to see like Man of Steel or Superman Returns or any of them.
Yeah.
So because I thought like, I'm sure they're perfectly fine films, but just not my cup of tea.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Yeah, I mean, I've seen all the Batman ones from before that point. I mean, in terms of like which ones I liked, I thought I quite liked the original Burton Batman, the Joker one. Wasn't a massive fan of Batman Returns.
Okay.
Batman Forever, I thought was all right. I saw that a lot when I was a kid because I liked the whole Joel Schumacher color scheme and the Riddler and stuff. Although somebody probably should have told Tommy Lee Jones he was playing Two-Face and not the Joker. But apart from that, it was, enjoyable movie. Batman Robin, obviously, we know how that goes.
Yeah. I did actually manage it all the way through once.
I've done the whole film, like a couple of times in some cases, I think.
Oh, God.
Yeah, more than once. When I was younger.
I made it through once. I made it through once. I don't think I could do it to myself again. So you have my condolences.
Yeah, I mean, when George Clooney apologizes for a movie, it's not good.
Yeah.
Because he's done other stuff that's not great.
It's quite obvious all the budget went on Arnie.
Yeah, I think it's definitely an Arnie-centric movie in terms of how much they spent. Not taking me to the cooler.
Yeah, it's just bad. So.
Yeah, it is. It's not good.
They've all stopped Bane as well.
And yes, that was quite atrocious. But thankfully, the Nolan Batman movies redeemed the villain somewhat. I've seen. I don't know which. I was always under the impression that I really liked Batman Begins the most out of all three, just because as much as I love The Dark Knight, it's much like my opinion of Star Wars. Even my least favorite is a really good movie for me. But with the Batman ones, I'm actually starting to warm more to The Dark Knight Rises as time goes on, because I watched it when we went to Berlin, which I talked about briefly. Couple
I haven't seen that. I saw it's weird because I own it on Blu-ray, but I watched it at the cinema. Went, that was brilliant.
Yeah,
and I haven't watched it since, even though I own it.
You've always been sitting there thinking like he's missing something. That Bane, he needs a softer edge. Like he needs to read The Tiger Who Came to Tea to a small girl.
Or I just need to sit there and go, you know who he needs to be? Venom.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Did you catch that trailer?
Yeah, I'm on the back foot with it at the moment, but
I'm a little bit on the fence. There's parts of it that look really cool. I actually think the special effects work looked really good, but
for the most part, there was a couple of bits I thought it looked a bit cheesy. Like the actual bit when he puts the actual mask on, I thought was when he actually put the face on looked a bit odd. Yeah,
that was a bit weird. I'm guessing it's Tom Hardy's voice. Everybody seems to have jumped to that conclusion, which makes sense, I guess. But I thought it might be Morgan Freeman, not Morgan Freeman, Lawrence Fishburne. I was just like that,
Sorry, it was just the Morgan Freeman as Venom.
Well,
I'll be eating your brain.
Yeah, we are merged together, Eddie Brock and Venom.
Although, as superpowers go, having your entire life narrated by Morgan Freeman isn't a bad one.
I'm all right with that. I'd be okay with that as a superpower. I think that's pretty good. Rob awoke, walking slowly to the kitchen for another day at the office, knowing he'd have to podcast later with his friend Blake. Sweet Blake. His rock.
Sometimes they would record. Sometimes other people would turn up. But other times they didn't.
Sometimes he'd get pissed off because nobody would come. And then he would realize the truth. It's their fucking loss. I'm Morgan Freeman.
Narrating Rob.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I misspoke. I mean, Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah. Okay.
I suppose it's because it sounded a bit like Norrin Rad from Fantastic Four and the Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Okay.
But I think it is just Tom Hardy probably run through some sort of deepening.
Somebody, please get this man a symbiote.
This ship knew about it. left him behind. And this ship knew about it. Spider-Man 3, it knew all about it. The dancing bit with Tobey Maguire. Why is that?
I don't think anyone really knew, except maybe Sam Raimi.
I don't even think he understands why that was. I'm hoping he'd have an explanation. If you were to ask him nicely, but I feel like he probably still wouldn't.
I think it's because he can't hear you over all this money.
Yeah, but yeah, I suppose that's it, Blake. Yeah, you cut right through to the nub of it ultimately. Well, there you go, Rob. Hopefully that's answered your question and given you some ideas of the kind of films we think are big screen worthy. On the subject of movies, this seems to have become Crazy Train seems to become very much a movie-centric cast recently. But if
it's happened recently, I think because a lot of people keep sending us movie-related questions.
Yeah, if that's what people want to talk about, then we'll talk about it. We'll go where the Crazy Train goes. That's where.
Sorry, it's been bugging me in the back of my head. Because you said earlier, because you referred to it as the fish boat, is it actually in the shape of a fish?
No, it looked very much like the boat from Jaws. It's got that sort of, the little bit at the back where you sort of pilot from.
I suppose as dogfish go, I suppose it was an adequate size. So.
Yeah, it was a normal sized, small fish. Like I don't know how long. They're sort of arm length, I guess.
The boat was the correct size.
Yeah, the boat was a normal size. Yeah.
No, right.
But tell you what was not normal size. In fact, now I think about it, was the toilet on that boat. Now it's lucky to have one at all. I will caveat with that.
Yeah. Also, as film quotes go, we're going to need a bigger toilet. It doesn't really have the same ring to it.
If anybody's out there who's listening who designs fishing boats and wants to make an improvement, might I suggest one? Make it so people can piss in it normally, rather than having to sit on the deck and then jump through a little hatch to get to a cupboard, which is basically like a cupboard under the stairs style environment, where you then have to sort of piss like you're a box. It's hard to explain, but that's what I mean.
Those things well known for pissing.
Yeah, they're very much pissing connoisseurs, as it were.
Yeah. Okay. So the whole
But
I imagine that's made worse by you being quite tall, though.
There is that. Ultimately, I've come to the conclusion that nobody who designs any forms of transport are listening, because otherwise we'd have bigger train seats and bigger plane seats. Because I've complained about both of those on this show before, because they're both ridiculously insufficient for my gargantuan stature.
Yeah.
So there is that. But I caveat with the fact that I realise that I'm abnormal in that respect. So not a giant, sadly.
I don't allow anything for my massive legs.
Yeah, exactly. It's the knees that tend to suffer the most, just because they end up getting slammed against something, which is not nice, as I'm sure you can imagine.
Well, I mean, I have that. Normally, if I have to sit in on a train, for example, if I'm sitting on the sort of on an older train with the normal 2-seater bits. Mm-hmm. By the end of the journey, by the time I get to Victoria, I'm like, oh, thank Christ, I've got to move, because my knees are being stuck against the chairs for all the journey. Yeah,
I know what you mean.
Caning by that point.
Yeah, it's annoying that way. Right, so we have another film question. So this is from number one superfan Paul J.
Hey!
Who messaged me privately to say thank you very much for giving him a nice dedication a few episodes ago when he was having a tough time.
Okay.
You're very welcome, Paul, as always. So question for a future podcast. Which sequels do you guys think were better than the original films? I can't think of many. I had a little think about this, because obviously we get these in the Facebook group now, because you can, if you haven't already heard, you can go on facebook.com and search for the Crazy Train podcast, and you can actually join our Facebook group and talk to many of the hosts of the show and previous guests and people like that in the group. A lot of them are there. So, you could have conversations with them and chat. Wouldn't that be nice? And we've had a jolly old time in there so far, and long may it continue. But obviously, because we get them in the group now, it's easy to see them and get a little bit of a heads up as to what's going to be in the show eventually.
Yeah.
So I had a little think about this, and I can only think of a couple, really. And actually, some of the ones that were said in the group, I didn't necessarily think I wouldn't go as far as to say they were accurate for me. Like Terminator 2, I don't think, I actually quite I prefer
That's a difficult one because I think I suppose it is arguably that all of it is based on opinion, obviously, at the end of the day.
Of course, yeah. It's also
it's a bit like I was going because I was sitting there going through all of my favorite films, and including like sequels I absolutely love as well. And I was thinking like, oh yeah, because originally I did think, oh, it's Terminator 2, and oh, Aliens, but then I just went, well, no, because the original films are fantastic films, but for different reasons.
Yeah.
And I think Terminator 2 and Aliens are different enough to be regarded in their own right. So I can see why some people might say they prefer Aliens or Terminator 2 to the original films, but that's not. You can't really knock the original films because they're classics as well.
No, indeed. I mean, Terminator 1 is very much like a sort of dark noir style. It's an action movie, but it's actually sort of sporadic bursts of action in terms of it's some tension and then some action and then some tension and then some action and so on. Terminator 2 is a much bigger movie in terms of spectacle, and obviously the special effects are significantly different. They're both good in their own rights. Like the Terminator 1, obviously the eyeball removing scene, the sort of the diagnostic bit, repairing has some ropey moments. They don't date so well.
No, but it's over time.
For sure, yeah.
I don't think it's so awful. It's like it's unwatchable, but it's like it's a bit like because even as a massive fan of Ghostbusters, even I have a problem with Zool breaking out of the cupboard in Rick Moranis' house. But
yeah, indeed, it's but Alien, and I agree, Alien and Aliens is a similarly difficult proposition because they're both completely different movies. Aliens is more of an action movie, like an army film almost. Alien is a survival horror.
Yeah, exactly, and they're both brilliant in their own right. Really.
Yeah, totally. I would say Empire Strikes Back is the obvious one.
Yeah, and that's what I put on my comment. But then again, when I put that, I was just like, that's why I said, is everyone just going, oh no, that's a given? We don't even have to.
Well, this is the thing, I kind of see it as don't take any givens.
Yeah, no, I'd definitely say Empire. I agree with, I think it was Charlie that said it was X-Men 2 over X-Men 1.
See, again, I prefer the first one.
Oh, really?
I like X-Men 2, but I don't know what it is. There's a slight preference for X-Men 1. I guess maybe it's just because I like setup movies.
Yeah. Also, when we're talking about sequels, are we purely talking about the second one, or are we talking about later films in the franchise?
I don't know. I guess both count. Because sequels are, movies that follow on directly from the previous one in terms of the story.
Because then would you argue that, even though it's a prequel, Episode 3 and or Rogue One or whatever are better than the original?
I would say Episode 3 is better than Episode 2, for sure. That would be one I would say is probably a fair...
Yeah, if you're going to go that way. No, I didn't know if you would then go like a later film in the series, like...
not so much
better than the original.
I'm talking more in terms of story continuation.
Okay.
So like the saga, the Star Wars, think about the saga movies. I'd sort of, Rogue One is kind of its own beast. And I think it's better, and to be honest, I think it's probably better for it.
Yeah. But that's also the reason why I'm a bit like, if it's a sequel, are they saying, yeah, I suppose it's more of is it truly a sequel because is it more of a spin-off, really?
Yeah. But it's another one. Like, again, I would say if it wasn't for the fact that I really love Willem Dafoe, Spider-Man 2 in many ways is better than Spider-Man 1, but actually Willem Dafoe for me makes Spider-Man 1 a better movie because he's great. Creepy ass bastard. Plays a good
have you seen what's the bloody hell called? Escaping me.
Death Note?
No, the characters turn up in Broforce. It's the something brothers.
Oh, Boondock Saints.
Yeah, Boondock Saints. That's it.
No, I haven't seen that one.
Sorry, I've had a complete brain fart there. He's like a police officer in that, and he's outstanding in it.
Oh, I need to see that movie.
He's obviously there just to have fun, and it's just he's brilliant in it. And if you watch the film at all, I mean, it's a good film anyway, but it's worth it just for Willem Dafoe at the end of the day.
Yeah. And then again, if you're starting thinking about sort of sequence films in terms of storyline, I mean, Dark Knight Rises maybe for me edges Dark Knight, but that's just because I really love. I like them. I love them all. I think they're all brilliant movies. But Dark Knight Rises is really. I don't know what it is about it. It's really growing in my enjoyment. Like my enjoyment of it's really going.
I suppose I would say the Dark Knight is better than Batman.
Okay. See, I like the first one.
And don't get me wrong. That's because I do really like all the films. But,
sure, yeah. No, again, it's not like liking one doesn't automatically infer that you dislike
the others. No, it's just it's more like a preference thing. And yeah, I don't know. I just remember going wow at really enjoying The Dark Knight and wow at really enjoying The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah,
and really Batman Begins. When I first saw it, I enjoyed it. Thought it was good. But it didn't have that blown me away factor that the other two films did.
Yeah, yeah.
But yet, I think with future viewings, I've enjoyed it more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get what you mean.
So it's been more one that's built up as I've watched it again and again.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm trying to think of other. Got me looking at my DVD cupboard now.
Yeah, I'm having to do the same, to be honest. Maybe Austin Powers 2.
Okay, yeah,
I really like Austin Powers 2.
I do love the again though.
The first one is wonderful. That's
and obviously Goldmember's great as well.
Goldmember has some real moments, and actually, I saw a thing today saying that if Poundland have started selling the Blu-rays for £1, and that's the only one I don't have.
Oh, okay.
So I may have to try and track down a Poundland nearby.
Even though I know it's not the second one, but Prisoner of Azkaban, I think it's the best Harry Potter film.
It's a sequel.
It is a sequel, and I think it's the best Harry Potter film. So,
see, I'm not a big fan of that one. For me, that's the best story, but I find the direction really annoying. He does like a lot of tricks that I find really overused and really horrendous and don't make sense. Probably Order of the Phoenix is my favorite. That one's good. Mainly because I love what's her name? The lady who plays Umbridge. Not Miranda Richardson. That's Rita Skeeter.
I know who you mean, but I'm having
who I mean.
Another brain fart.
I'm gonna have to look it up because it's gonna bug me otherwise. But yeah, she plays Umbridge in that film, and she's so good.
And that's another thing, actually. If you're thinking of films that are, because I'm thinking of films that are brilliant but may not have had loads of plot per se, but then the sequels embellish upon and improve upon the plot while still being great themselves. And I'm thinking like The Raid 2 or John Wick 2 being perfect examples of that. I mean, what's your opinion on them in comparison to the originals?
I've only seen The Raid 1, so I can't really comment on that one.
Okay. Have you seen John Wick 2?
No. Again, that's another one. I found it. Imelda Staunton.
Okay, that's the one. Yeah.
She's so fucking good in that movie. She's just great. I thought of another one, Punisher Warzone.
I have not seen it. I've only seen the Thomas Jane one.
It's the thing. I think technically it's a sequel to the Thomas Jane one, but I'm not sure. But I do really love the Thomas Jane one, but the Punisher Warzone is the right side of campy and silly in places, and it sort of.
I've heard mixed things about it. I know you love it, but I have heard mixed things about it, which is why I never really got around to watching it. But I do intend to watch it one day.
Yeah, it's worth a watch. Maybe we can do a viewing of it sometime around here.
Yeah. Sounds like a plan.
Ray Stevenson's a good choice in most respects. The only thing I find is the voice doesn't quite work all the time. Sometimes it works really well, and then sometimes I'm like, it's not really. I'm not really feeling it. Thomas Jane's voice is always works.
Yeah, no, I think Thomas Jane, to me, the voice feels like the Punisher, but and also I loved him because he did the voice in obviously in the video game on the PS2. Yeah, which was great.
Yeah, that's one of those games I really hope they do backwards compatibility on the original Xbox, because I will go out and find I don't care about the cost. I will find a copy because I want to play it again.
Yeah, no, one of the reasons I picked up a cheap PS2 was just so I could replay Unpunished.
Nice.
So that and Time Splitters Future Perfect.
Yeah.
Which I'm still amazed they've never ported that backwards compatible. Like the Time Splitters games.
Yeah, it does seem odd that they haven't even done like a compendium or something. Because I know Free Radical as a developer rather, have been sort of absorbed into other things. But
they're part of Crytek now, are they?
That sounds right. Yeah, I'm sure there must be a license knocking around somewhere. I'm sure EA must have it. I presume they do because they bought Free Radical. So presumably that comes with the term.
Someone's probably sitting on it. I know Time Splitters 4 would never happen.
Yeah. But I don't know. It's there are a lot like that. We think it's probably it's technically a sequel, but you forget where they sort of fit. Winter Soldier. There you go.
Okay.
I would say Winter Soldier is far superior to
Winter
First
Soldier
Avenger.
is better than the First Avenger.
Yeah. Not to knock the First Avenger because I do like it.
No.
But,
I think that's a fair one. That's
yeah. Winter Soldier's absolutely great.
And as you said earlier, Ragnarok, I think, is the best Thor film.
Yeah, I think that's probably true as well, actually, because the first one's pretty good, the second one's shit, and then the third one's amazing. So that would fit.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know. It
doesn't say when they say a sequel better than the original. Like, even when I was thinking that, is Last Crusade better than Raiders? No, that's too tough to call.
I would say Temple of Doom's probably definitely not as good as Raiders, but
no. Temple of Doom is a good film. It's just
totally.
It's darker than the other two films.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, I mean, Christ, it's a PG, and you see a bloke rip somebody's heart out. It's like, Jesus.
I think there's a fourth film, but as far
I've
as I'm
heard
concerned,
rumblings of it. But it's like, I remember seeing a trailer, and it just like it was a really long trailer as well. And I was like, this looks like it's going to suck, and I just never watched the full movie. Nearly 2 hours that trailer. It's weird.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's very odd.
What was also weird was they had more trailers before it that were really short, so you'd think they'd just stick to the 2-minute form. but yeah, it was weird. They just had hours and hours of this trailer. I was just like, Jesus, you're going to tell me the whole plot at this point?
Well, no. And even when I thought I've seen him survive several things, and even like, other things in that trailer were just like, that's just nonsensical.
Yeah, and then it's like, spoilers for the trailer for Crystal Skull. Like, you find out that he's done inside the trailer. It's like, Jesus Christ, that's like a massive spoiler. That ruins the movie for me.
I know, yeah.
Obviously, we're just kidding. There is no fourth Indiana Jones movie. I'm trying to say I'm really struggling to think of other movies besides those, but those are a few picks that I would say are probably worth considering as
it's a bit like there's no fourth Alien movie, even though there's a fifth and a sixth one,
which is odd, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. I think that's very weird.
But they're prequels though, so they don't count.
Yeah.
So. And number 6, you really need to have seen number 5, but nobody told me.
Then there was a spin-off, but then the second spin-off didn't happen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but, and we should all be thankful every day that that's the case. Yeah. But
everyone who bitched about AVP had obviously never didn't expect AVP 2 to happen.
No, well, Christ, yeah. I mean, I'm under no illusion that AVP 2 is better than AVP 1 because it didn't.
No.
Well, there you go, Paul. Thank you for writing that one in. So hopefully we've given you a few ideas of the kind of stuff that we think is better than the originals. Just quickly, so I think we should probably wrap the Crazy Train up.
Okay, yeah.
But it's
just quite a film heavy one. This one
we have. Well,
with random fish.
We're going to end on a on a film related thing as well. So we remember last episode we talked about how we should get suggestions for classic or not.
Oh yeah.
So we're going to start off with the first one that came in, which was from Jeremy. So Jeremy wrote in. What's he say? So Jeremy said, "Let's get right into it then. Jurassic Park, classic or not?"
I will say classic because I think that's been just about the right amount of time has passed now, and it has spawned a whole franchise and everything. So I don't think it's that far away from it, if you know what I mean. Yeah,
I agree. To me, it ticks every single box. Its effects have dated well. It's about the right age in terms of classicdom. It's sort of 25 years old, I think, soon, if not already.
Is it? Shit.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
But it's if it's not already 25 years old, it's not far off.
No, and even though it spawned about 4 or 5 films, only one of the sequels being good. But
yeah, indeed. Have you seen the trailers for? You've been following the trailers for Fallen Kingdom?
I haven't seen the most recent trailer, but I'm still worried about it.
There's 2 things that worry me about the film. One, it looks really boring, and 2, Chris Pratt's wearing a lot of eyeliner. And I don't understand who thought that was okay. Like, who looked at it and was like, he looks made up to a normal human level. Like, in what world? What have you like? Have you spent the entire time working a makeup counter in Boots or something and just slapping people with powder puffs full of stuff for your entire life, and then you go on to make a movie, and then it's like, yeah, this is probably good. Thwack.
Yeah,
just load up the eyeliner on a bit of foam and just slap him in the face multiple.
I mean, I know I'm going to end up going to see the damn film anyway. That's the thing that annoys me. Is that they don't have to you know, I mean, I've seen all the others in the cinema, so I'm probably going to end up seeing that one. Oh no, actually, I'll tell a lie. I don't think I saw the third. I'm not sure if I saw the third one.
I don't think I did. No, I think I only saw the. I don't even think I saw the first one in the cinema.
Well, maybe or did I?
I'm not convinced I did.
I definitely saw the second one in the cinema, and I definitely saw Jurassic World in the cinema.
Yeah, I saw Jurassic World in the cinema.
I remember seeing Jurassic World because it cost me nothing. But
that's good. Yeah, you always remember the free ones.
Yeah, it's because it was. Yeah, I got it for free for apparently people complained about Mad Max being too loud.
Yeah,
like weirdos. Sorry, this film was too awesome. Would you like some free tickets to go see another film?
Yeah, exactly. But I would agree. I think Jurassic Park is an absolute lock for classic.
Yeah, I think that's a fair one.
It doesn't get talked about enough, I don't think. But the special effects, the puppet special effects, still look good now. The CG stuff's a bit more. It's dated a little bit rougher, but it's still good.
But even then, I don't think it's as harsh as some other CG films I can name. You know.
Oh, totally.
I mean, I remember. I mean, I only ever saw the Hobbit films each one once.
Yeah.
But I remember catching one of them on TV, and I think it was the second film, and it was the fight between Legolas and the White Orc in the fishing town.
Okay.
And I was just watching it going, this looks awful.
Yeah, there's some bits like that.
The bit where he's just dancing, like he's standing on, he's meant to be like latched to this guy's back, stabbing him, and I just went, it doesn't look good. It's quite obvious it's not there, and you know.
Yeah. It's like, and there's one, I think I talked about it on a previous episode, but there's a bit in Ben Affleck's Daredevil, the movie where he's Daredevil, and they're running up a clock tower, him and Bullseye, and you can tell it's two CG figures running up a flight of stairs. It's like, you could have done that with people, and it wouldn't look wank. Because Bullseye has I feel like in the suit, in the outfits, they can get away with a little bit more. But Bullseye is a bloke with a bald head, and it's so obviously CG'd. It's not even funny.
Yeah, no. So there were some bits that look cool. I can't even remember. Like, I think it was one of the bits of I've never watched the whole thing all the way through because I've always gone, oh. But the Halle Berry Catwoman.
Oh God. Oh,
I remember some of the special effects in that being atrocious.
I remember watching. I think I got through 20 minutes of that, and I was like, "This is awful. I have to go."
Yeah, no, I think you lasted twice as long as I have. I think I made about 10 minutes of it. And,
I've got stamina for wank movies, though. Been conditioned over the years.
Well, I mean, you've watched Batman and Robin twice. Well,
there you go. At least,
yeah.
But maybe it might be one of those ones where I've seen loads. I've seen it. That might explain why I don't remember much about childhood. Maybe I've.
Maybe I don't want to remember what.
Yeah, it's like, oh God, the Bane. apparently, I wake up every now and then just going, not sending me to the cooler. Chill out.
Why did they think a chubby Bane was a good idea?
You guys know he speaks in the comics, right? he's quite smart, it turns out. He doesn't just go, roar.
Just bad.
Did somebody just say, Bane, bear with me at the beginning of the movie? He's like, roar. That's a terrible joke, I apologize.
Speaking of Batman, though, I was quite happy to hear that I'm going to MCM at the end of May.
Cool.
And I found out Kevin Conroy is going to be there.
Nice.
So I might have to go get his autograph.
Yeah, totally. See if you can get him to do an intro for the show.
Yeah.
I am crazy. I am the train. I am Crazy Train. I know what, fine. I'll just mock one up if we don't need it.
Yeah, just do that.
But sorry, Kevin, you've been replaced. Yeah. Just by my gruff voice.
Yeah.
Just need to.
It wasn't Troy Baker.
No, this is true. Although he's fine. You know.
That was such a weird decision in that game because I didn't think any of them sounded that much different in the end. And I was like,
it's true. Yeah, it's like, why would you bother?
Because it was just Troy Baker doing a really, really good Mark Hamill impression, which as a voice actor, I imagine he would have trained himself to do quite easily. Yeah,
I wonder if it's actually easier to do other people's impressions of other things sometimes rather than try and do a. Obviously, I'm not saying Troy Baker couldn't do a fresh take, because I'm sure he could. No. But I know they said, we don't want Kevin Conroy to do Batman, we want someone younger. But then the guy just sounded like someone doing a bad Kevin Conroy impression. I am vengeance. I'm the knight. Batman.
But as I say, Kevin Conroy's voice doesn't sound old. That's the thing.
No, it's true.
I didn't think it was needed.
No.
So, it just seemed like a weird decision at the time.
It doesn't really matter.
But yeah, that was the thing. It was a weird decision in the video games just to do that, just for Origins, just because like, oh yeah, but it's set in the past. So I was like, yeah,
'tis peculiar, indeed.
It's not like if Kevin Conroy sounded like an old man, I would have gone, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah,
but he doesn't. He just sounds like Batman.
Just sounds like Batman. This is it. He just sounds like Batman. That is a thing. He sounds like. Yeah.
But yes. But anyway, sorry. Going back, Jurassic Park is definitely a classic.
Yeah, for sure. I would concur. So there you go, Jeremy. So thank you for writing that one in. Paul sent in a big pile of them. So there's definitely, we're going to have a lot to go with this. But if you have a suggestion for classic or not, our new sort of occasional segment where we dissect a movie and decide if it's classic or not in the estimation of the Emotionally 14 podcast crew, then you can send it to podcast@emotionally14.com, just like any questions. And who knows, you might get yours read on the air, or you will eventually. Just a question of how long it will take, because we do get quite a few. Jeremy's been prolific in particular. I didn't want to go a whole episode without hearing from him, so I thought I'd read his suggestion for classic or not. So if you've enjoyed The Crazy Train, thank you for listening, first of all. Even if you haven't enjoyed it, thanks for listening. Nice of you to try. Especially if
you made it all the way through.
I was going to say, especially if you got this far. Nicely done.
Well done.
So if you've enjoyed the show and you wish to subscribe for further listening enjoyment later on down the line, you can find us at various different subscription services, and I'm going to list a few of them for you now. So we are on Apple Podcasts, we are on Spotify, we are on Podbean, we're on Podchaser, we are on Stitcher Radio, we're on YouTube, we're on Libsyn, we're on Podcast Addict. Basically, anywhere you can find podcast feeds, you can find the Crazy Train podcast. We're borderline everywhere. You can even ask your Echo to do it by asking any pod to play the Crazy Train. So that's a nice little addition. If you want to connect with us on social media, you can do so at Emotionally14 by following us on Facebook at Emotionally14, joining the Crazy Train podcast Facebook group. It's a picture of the show logo, so you can't miss it. And obviously, you can talk to us all in the room. We're actually there. Like I say, most, if not all, of the Crazy Train crew are in that room, so you can have a chat to them, and the conversation can go off in delightfully silly tangents, which it's been one to do. Blake, where can people find you on social media?
You can find me on Facebook, obviously including the Emotion 14 groups, as mentioned earlier. You can find me on Twitter at fucksakeblake. And you can find me on Instagram at Harmer the Appreciator.
Nice. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at RobWadeVision, and everything else I do that's not Emotionally 14 at talkstarwars.co.uk. Yeah, so you can go on emotionally14.com and view everything that we have there. So it's podcasts, blog posts, YouTube videos, all sorts of stuff is there. We also have our Amazon store, so you can go on Amazon and buy all your things via Emotionally 14. It gives us a little kickback, doesn't cost you any extra, and helps us do fun stuff like buy shit. So there you go.
I've always said that's one of the best things about Amazon.
Yeah, it's good for that. If there's one thing they're good for, and it is only one, it's buying stuff. I tell a lot of the video stuff's good. I tell you, the music stuff's good. All right, fine. Amazon have great.
And Audible.
Other services are available.
Fuck.
Other services are available. Comixology, bollocks. So in addition to Amazon, you can also buy Emotionally 14 branded t-shirts at tpublic.com, stores Emotionally 14. You can get the Blake Dream Big t-shirt. You can get the Crazy Train logo. You can get the E14 Toy Box logo. I'm working on... the Gamecast logo's on there now as well. I was about to say I'm working on it, but it's already done. So you can buy that stuff there. So
the Appreciation Kitchen t-shirt on there.
No, I'm still working on the Photoshop for that. If you want it, I'll do it.
Or at least do a YouTube video.
Yeah, indeed. So there we go. So those are different ways you can help us support us at E14. The other option, of course, is to just share with your friends, tell people about it, and they'll tell two friends, and they'll tell two friends, and before long, we'll have viewers in the fucking millions.
Yeah, and before you know it, we're all sitting on a boat clubbing dogfish to death.
We can but dream.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you.
Apparently, it's humane.
Yeah, apparently so. It's kind of that way, it turns out. So thank you for listening to The Crazy Train, and peace.
Peace.